We are in the phone booth. Some of y'all who are new around here, I'm Luke. Call me Lukelifecharms. And this is a special video because this goes out to a comment that I got from someone very important. And they left me saying a comment, basically, the place that they live, they don't like it. And not only do they not like it, but there's things that are literally draining their souls by staying there. And at the end of their comment, they said something along the lines of, but it's okay because I'm just waiting for the conditions to change and then I'll do something. And that just got me thinking of how many times I said that. And if that had been the story that I kept going, you would never have seen me in a YouTube video. You would have never found me unless you met me in real life or was part of my journey being a pro athlete. If I waited for conditions to change, there's times right now, there's things that I'm going through now that I'm like, I'm just going to wait for it to change. And my question that I ask myself, and I'll just share with you, is like, what happens if things don't change? Or better yet, I got another question. What happens if things change for the worst? What if the worst, when I say that, to be clear, the worst meaning the result that you want, the opposite happens and faster than you think. See, that's where the problem is when we put ourselves in a position of waiting for something or someone else. I like to say, like, when we put a noun, when we're waiting for a noun. If you don't remember in English, a noun is actually one of the only things I remember from English class, is a person, place, or thing. And I feel like there's someone out there who's still waiting for that perfect moment, waiting for that sign. You've probably been watching my channel for a long time. You've probably never left a comment, and yet you watch every single video and waiting for a sign. I guarantee you that this is your sign. Like, nothing changes, really. Nothing changes. Like, everything's constantly moving. Everything is moving all the time. You have to understand, you want people to be nicer to you, you can wait for them to be nicer to you, or you can just change your definition of nice. You can worry about what you can control. Like, there's just something that you just keep putting off. Like, you keep putting it off and thinking that something's going to happen and swoop down and save you. But more importantly than waiting for something is, what are you doing while you're waiting? See, I love reading survival stories. Survival stories are like my favorite. I read a book. I can't remember the name of it. It was like Survival Stories. It was written by Bear Grylls. And in all these stories, what separated the people who died, like shipwrecked and died, stranded and died, plane crashed and died, the thing that made all the difference, and it was in, I think, just about every story, every survival story I think I've ever heard, wasn't that they were waiting, but it was, what did each person do while they were waiting? You see, some people stayed behind and waited for help. Some people wrote big letters in the snow. Some people built rafts and just sat on the raft. Some people just floated in the water. Some people just hid. Like, everyone did something different. But what made the difference wasn't just luck. It was what they did while they were waiting. Some people said, well, I'm going to be here. This is going to last for a long time, so I need to prepare for a long time. Other people believe that, hey, help is going to be here in a few days. I don't need to build shelter. I don't need to look for water. I don't need to conserve water. I don't need to conserve this food. I'm going to eat it all now because help is coming. Same situation happened to both people. Right? I can't tell you. It's almost, I've noticed this has happened more than ever in my life and career on social media. I get more and more messages from people from the United States of America who are tired of it and can't wait to leave. Most of my clients are in that situation. The people that I work with, and a lot of them have gone. I've already taken the steps. But what are you doing while you're in this situation? Yeah, I know prices are going up. Like, people write me all the time, and I'm like, it's happening everywhere. Yeah, well, politics and everything, it's happening everywhere. Everything's just a mirror for everything else. Suffering just looks different everywhere. That's what you need to understand. Suffering looks different depending on where you are. Someone who has money, who doesn't have money, they both can suffer at equal levels. You guys got to get it. I was a pro athlete. Didn't need anything from anyone in my mind. I had everyone knew me in the city, whether it was Barcelona or Paris or Frankfurt, Germany, Melbourne, Australia, places that I played for. They all knew me. I should be the happiest one. I'm not worried about money. I'm not worried about a car or anything or a house. I'm not worried about any of that. None of it. But there were times where I was the most unhappy person. There was times where I suffered the most after a win, after we won, that I've suffered the most. Most of my suffering thoughts was, wow, I have no family here who just saw me do that. I just signed 100 autographs, took hundreds of pictures, and now I'm going home to myself, and none of my family's there. There are even times where people are like, well, you have a girlfriend, you get to do, yeah. It's like, yeah, it's great, and this happened a lot of times, but I'm like, I want to express all this self, but yeah, my family's not here, but the girl that I'm dating, she doesn't speak English. So I can only express myself very limitedly. Like, there was suffering that people didn't see. Suffering of, like, no matter what good I do, I don't get any points for yesterday's game. I'm only going to get points for what I do in the next game. Not even today's game's finished. These pictures are done. If I have a bad game next week, the town hates me. Actually, they were pretty merciful on me. I did pretty well. Had a lucky career. But I think about it, to not get too far off topic. So if I was, I can't remember why I was saying that, but waiting for something to change, waiting for things to change, to get back to the main thing, waiting for things to change, you can be suffering. That's where I was going. Because there's times that I suffered more than anyone else, although it looked great. There are times I've been traveling in the vlog, where I'm like, okay, the money I have for travel is done in a week. Like, and I have no idea where that next money's coming from. Like, in the vlog, that's happened. Not touching savings, not touching nothing, but what I have allocated is done. But everyone loves, oh, that's so great, that's so cool, but all this, but you don't understand. So me waiting for things to change, waiting for the conditions to change, it's on me. It's on you. What do you mean? How long are you going to wait for? Time is not on your side. It's not on my side. Some of you guys are watching this and you're 17 years old. You're 24, 28 years old. Time is not on your side as much as you feel like it is. Because everyone's acting like they're all going to get old. We're all not going to get old and die. So what's the wait? What's the point? If you're not having any fun, when is the fun going to happen for you? When are you going to start to enjoy yourself? Like, when? When is the perfect time to start? I have a conversation with so many people. And if you've been watching up until this point, then I feel like we do need to talk. Send me an email. I'll give out 2 free clarity calls. I'm going to start doing it again soon. I've slowed down on my coaching and everything because I had a lot of things going on in my life, and I just needed to take a step back and didn't want to distract myself. But I'm going to start back with it. Going to start working with a lot more of you. As I've changed the model of coaching, instead of one-on-one, I only could do so many people. Now I'm going to do more grouping. But I think I just want you to understand that waiting for the conditions to change is probably one of the worst things you can do, because you have no control over it, which means you're going out there in a boat during a storm and saying, I'm just going to wait for the sun to come out. I'm going to float in this boat and wait for the sun to come out. What if the sun doesn't come out? Then what? And here's another thing. What about all the other people on the boat with you? What about all the other people who you don't know, who are doing exactly what you're doing, who are wanting to be just like you? So just a little food for thought, because I feel like someone needed to hear this. I hope this gets to your soul. Reach out to me. Send me an email. I love working with you guys. I love talking to you. I love signing new clients. I love having you have those breakthroughs and sharing what that breakthrough was to help other people. But what are you waiting for? We need to talk. We'll speak soon. See you in the next episode. Or next talk from my heart to yours.